pimples of absolution. There are the pimples of reason. Deep beneath the pimple's exterior lies a gooey center filled with swarming, libelous germs. I eat these germs. These germs give me protection against further dismal tribulations. I fart steam. I believe in choo-choo balls. I give to the poor. I give them my pious wisdom. Everyone else is to suffer a horrible death in the bowels of my mind's excrement. I have to stop and wonder what were you thinking when you ignored me. No one ignores the great Mustafio. I have this watch, you see. The watch is made by Swiss midgets, wading in muck up to the waist. They tinker and toil all to my benefit, only to make the perfect watch to suit my being. The watch that I will use to time the ultimate destruction and liquefaction of the undesirables. No one is man enough to wear the watch. I was walking through Astoria one day, and a fool touched my robe. He said, I will give you a gold-plated Mercedes-Benz for the watch. I looked at him and I said, no one is man enough to wear the watch. No one has the balls. Then I turned him into a pudding. A dark-hearted man swept him into the Suruguay, and a beggar took his shoes. The ignoble fool, he who dared to assume that the watch I wear, made by Swiss midgets toiling in their own waste, could be worn by anyone else as great as me. Me, Mustafio. I am the great one. Touch me in the morning. Behold my circular purse. Eat linguine with my permission. I absolve you too, and will partake in the joy of breathing a final breath of sweet orange air. Desire me. Tell me of your passion. I will tear you limb from limb. I can change myself into a snake and back again before you can pick your nose and eat it. Communicate. Look for obscure reference points. There are no March hares. There are no April Fools. There are no June bugs. There is no August cookie. You are fools put here to serve me. Do my bidding. The bonds of shame and fortune tie you to me. Do not diet anymore. It gives me gas. I taste through you. Eat well, my dear people, for I can vaporize you in a millisecond if I so desire. I am incongruous. I am a shaving from a board. I am a pea in the landscape. I am a backstroke in the Cool Whip. You are impostors. Make ice cream for me. Make ice cream for me. My favorite flavor is pistachio. I like to eat it every morning before I say, oh shit, it's another day. Take me seriously. One of the hazards of travel is the obscenity of the toilet accommodations. The restrooms of the larger chain service stations take pride in the cleanliness and decency of their accommodations. But it is not always possible to put such a certified Johnny, in spite of Kate's fastidiousness. You know, a president of an Eastern college stumbled over to see me one day. Excuse me. He said he had read many books about Mustafio that were on display in the window, and was especially impressed by one book, I imagine he expected Mustafio to cut Rusty, but instead I upchucked that I would often pass through the eternal certain man and his offices there, and a junior supervisor for the general railroad. I would pass this building often, back and forth as was my habit, yet I would see his office ignited. It was a close shave before the years had passed. Certainly he was no clue boy. Yes, you say, I know of these men, but you rarely see the surface record for the bullfighting. Was he a stupid? Ask the farmer about his crops. When they came to my chum, they told him to peel off his shirt. He was blindfolded on the tracks, and they were going to brand him with hot tallow from a burning candle. Now, Mustafio knew that tallow dripping from a candle would not burn. At least it never did burn me, but I was always a bit of a huckster. Yet my chum believed he was being burned by the babysitter, and know it so intensely that the welt rose from his flesh amidst the clamor and metallic clattering of the gravy train, crushing my high-class chum into so much sausage in the morning commute and compote. Down and down and down I go, round and round and round I go. Put me in the spin, I'm in the spin I'm in, put me in the spin. Ah, it's good to have you abroad. I once had the clock with one hand. The hand did not move. It was wedged between 1 and 2. Nobody seemed to mind. Life went by as it does, clickety-clack, clickety-clack. And then one day, 2 suns appeared in the polar opposite sky, right beside our immature, or the big creature. Half of the primitive Earth civilization went stark raving mad. The Bibles flew off the shelves like condoms in a Las Vegas 7-Eleven. But then, just as dusk appeared to burn off the rim of space, I just peeked my head in and said, hello, yes, you pathetic ones, look up here. Ah! They all screamed at once. And Ramona, the girl who cleans my house, had such a start, let me tell you. My face filled it to the sky. I had 2 green gobs for fire for my eyes. I spit flame onto the planet. Look up here. I am the way. I am the way. I have no book yet, just a sack full of dreams and promises. Follow me, be my slaves. I love you, I hate you, I love you, I hate. Kiss, kiss, kill, kill, push, pull. They don't know what the hell is going on. They just know their skin is covered with the blistering pustules, and no amount of salve can kill the pain. But love is pain, pleasure is pain. Love is king, misery is queen. I have a full house. I have a no-good son who thinks he's Harold Robbins. A wife who spends all my money. But you should get mad about it, because it used to be your money and made from the other side of the tracks. I shall kill you all one day, but first study me. Study the face. Touch the head. Go on, don't be afraid. That's right. Get up. Touch the head. Touch it. Touch it. Touch the head. Sit down, you repulse me. I will make your mothers eat maggots from a Flintstones baseball cap. Drink yoo-hoo from my show after I run and catch some undesirables. Get on your knees and pray. Pray! Pray to the great one, the Tallahatchie Kid, the indiscreet snake from the Sheboygan, the star in the sky, me. Me! Mustafio, accept the love. I accept the love. Kiss the head softly and sit down. Thank you, there is much to discuss. What was the other side of the story? I've been a bad girl. Mustafio is but a temporary manifestation. And the manifestation is a manifestation, however temporary. But Mustafio is a permanent manifestation, which is as near death as life can get. There can be no more of this less Mustafio in the flash of lightning than in the worlds to come. Mustafio is all the while only and always a frog, a pond, a plop, the birth of this owl, the stinking, rotting corpse by the roadside, this lively maggot emerging, this cuckoo calling me now. The presence of Mustafio shows that we are present. Mustafio begins here, Mustafio ends there. And what is now? Mustafio is the search for Mustafio, as Mustafio is in need of the Mustafio, and Mustafio is in want of Mustafio. When there is no seeking of Mustafio, there is no seeker, there is nothing. There is space only, in which everything is, as it always is, waiting on Mustafio. Mustafio is within you, when you have the balls to receive Mustafio. I am as one who eats his breakfast gazing at his watch. I've been away, I've been up, I've been down. When I was north, I stayed with Santa. When I was south, I stayed with Satan. It's the same thing. Think about it. It's all about the money. You make a living and the disguise comes off at the end of the night. After the automatic garage door rolls into a jelly roll of greasy metal. Santa has a red robe with white trim. Satan has a red robe with black trim. One has a bag of gifts, the other a bag of bones. Do you think I give a shit what a man does for a living? I knew someone once, I won't name names. He was of higher up in the so-called entertainment industry. He said to me, Mustafio, I don't know how you do it. Your work is your life. Why don't you kick back? I thought about it for a few seconds, and I said with his two-page shenanigan purveyor, you love me? He said, do I what? I said, do you love me? He said, do I love you? You rant and rave about enslaving all the people of the earth to do your bidding, and you put doe-eyed virgins in giant blenders. I think you're insane. But I like your sense of humor. Let's go get a cappuccino. I said, hold it right there, buddy. Drop to your knees and give me 20. He looked at me and told me to fuck off. After he left the room, I made sure his little red Maserati careened off a cliff on the way to the hot beverage store. But I didn't kill him. I didn't kill my friend, oh no. But I did break his back in 2 places. Now an overweight woman from an enchanted island feeds him through a straw that goes directly into his belly. And that, ladies and gentlemen, illustrates my point. Don't get too familiar with me. When I say drop and worship, you better drop and worship. I may get chummy with a few of you. We can whistle at the thin legs of a beautiful pleasure receptacle Or we may smoke a cigar at the Venus Circle of an animal race. But always remember, I can mess up your day in a big way. I can rearrange your parts. Did you ever try to eat a gyro with your hips? Slowly, you starve as the random rearrangement of parts takes full effect. Slowly, but I do like to have fun. Don't get me wrong, I like to chow around with the power people who wear gold and have a free and easy way with a buck. They laugh sometimes at my image in swimming trunks as we sip drinks by the pool. I just wink and say, watch it, buddy. Watch it, buddy. As you know, the little party animals you make by twisting the balloons, they carry infectious diseases. They destroy the nerve cells of parts of your brain and always cause death eventually. Hugger-muggers like you and most other mammals can get these diseases. Balloons made of porcupines are all over the place and they can make you sick. Their droppings are in the punch and it's in the contract. So you have no choice but to blame your stinking little self if you get bit by an infected animal when they let the air out. Go to the Five and Dime and whistle some Dixie and you'll see what I mean. Give me a short one, and that's Latin for go fry a fish. Give yourself a broom, hatchet man. A rum, resounding, screaming Mimi. You got a broom to keep? Just like the Beatles say. And you want to pass the buck, but you get so nervous all the time. You're attacked by many objects in your way. Oh, not on my clock because I'm on the Skid Row time. Don't blame me because it's you who's the fink. Right, fink. And I say this with a capital drink. Fink, drink the fink. I called you. You had to bite me. You dusty old butt. There's a balloon in the swallow water. Don't blow a fuse after my careful proposition. I think that what you got is the classic case of the 5-spot. Chronic and progressive. I usually live in the nerve cells in the glands of the host. The 5-spot can be carried into the salivary glands for long periods of time. I once met a man who was even afraid to swallow his own spit. That's what I call having a bad 5-spot. You can place value on a good sturdy pair of shoelaces. I prefer the nylon and would recommend to all of you before throwing out your shoes that I have enough. I have enough stinking dollars to go buy the shoes. Military grade nylon, cut into down to size. You torch one end and it goes easily through the eyelids. Tie one up and you're ready to go. Higgledy-piggledy, higgledy-piggledy high. Oh, you startled me. I was just reflecting on my virtues. I made a paper plane once. It had your name on it. I flew it into the roaring fire. As it burned, I laughed. Yes, it laughed as the paper airplane crumbled into a bowl of white ash. I make lots of paper planes with the names of every boy and girl. Every one of them will go into the fire, but not before I work it to the bone. There are pieces of silver to polish, beads to pull out from the ground, rice to be cooked. I notice a flag waving on top of a pole. The flag looks funny with the stripes and the stars. The flag will one day have but one image. The image of a great one. The image of the only one. The only reflection you'd ever be permitted to look at. The image of me. Me, Mustafio. My likeness and greatness will be plastered at every intersection and fornication. I will be at the stock car races Monday to give trinkets to the little people. I have gifts of pure radioactive cobalt that I will present to them in lead jars. These should be prayed to every night and morning. Say your morning prayers while you face my being. Think of which side your butter is breaded. Hope that there is a widow of opportunity waiting to pay her respects at the altar of my commission. But they couldn't find me. I retreated into the domicile of improper manhood and took a small pad by the river. It is there where I mapped out my plans for complete irrigation. No longer would the sticks poke through the sand. Every beach would be green with the fungus of my manhood. And every meal would contain my essence. Eat me. Eat me. Eat me. Love me. I am the great one. I am yours and you are especially mine. I am divine. I am the light. Lick my holy light. Lick me. Me, Mustafio. Mustafio sits in the dumb flying town, drinking the blood wine. Oh, where will I get a sailor to sail this good ship of mine? Up and spank an elder knight, who sat at Mustafio's right knee. Sir Franco B. Kittens is the best sailor that sails upon the sea. Mustafio has written a brave letter and signed it with his hand and sent it to Sir Franco B. Kittens and walking in the sand. Make haste, my merry men all, or ship sails the morn. Ah, say nay, my master dear, for I fear a deadly storm. Ah, yes, yes. There was a time that my opponent Brickhouse offered Mustafio an orange. Well, this was at a convention, a teeny-weeny convention, even pioneer, gurgling, burbling, of little consequence for a million. Use your head, Mr. Bradley, if you still don't know what it's for. I'm Danish whenever possible. The head is part of the body containing the eyes, nose, mouth, and brain. Now, just as chicory rhymes with chickadee, a panda is a hot squirrel, regardless if it eats an ear of corn or yaps like a dog. But the hour is late. Back to your feeding box. And let there be no squabbling about the matter. Must Mustafio wind you up into a knot again and again, a veritable Cub Scout knot, and make you do funny things? Perhaps I try to sit on you, amuse myself when you try rolling out from under. Or perhaps we return to the Holiday Inn, where the gurgling, burbling brook forms a tiny waterfall as it leaps over broken granite here and there. Perhaps it's true that Mustafio has found a form of companionship in the music and motions of a brook. But please remember the squirrel, and always remember the horse. The horse with the head, wearing a head. Keep in mind that when a hot one passes on the street, for example, Mustafio may exclaim, "Hey, baby," therefore suggesting that Mustafio has a good head for fingers. I happen to have passed a remnant of the female species. She was howling her way through a box of good and plenty. I asked her for all her money, and when she didn't bring forth, I inhaled her lock, stock, and barrel. It is money I now need to implement the final teeth of my plan. Money is what I want. Money is what I want. While strolling through the park one day, in the merry, merry month of May, I amused myself by sucking the jelly from Berry Gordy's fingers. When the bones were sucked clean, I threw the skeletal remains to my piranha, May. She likes the taste of Motown. She can do the bop-she-wop. I forgive the peasant mentality in the majority of the receptacles, but please do not beg for life. Beg for donuts, but not for life. A nice donut is worth a begging. I will give up the donuts. All you desire. All the donuts you can register right in the gullet, bypassing the juices of digestion. I have a problem with acid reflux. I keep getting flashbacks. Give me the Tinker toy so I can make a model uni baby. I take delight in handy fornication. Let's see if I can get it right in the dim. I love you. I love you all. But destruction is unfortunately the outcome of my never-ceasing desires. My never-ending love for you all. I need all of your money to make the love last. Put it in the milk box where you used to keep the cream. Nothing low-fat or skim. Only the cream. Then I will make ginger baker. Do you get it? Ginger baker. Nothing low-fat. Only the cream. Only the cream. You know, when I was 7 years old, my name was Peggy. But don't ask me why. This was, of course, a very long time ago. Certainly before your time. Anyway, it turns out that Santa Claus had brought for me a sled. And Mustafio was so happy with his sled for Santa Claus, for bringing the sled. I liked my new sled so much I decided to give it a name. A secret name. I had named my new sled Flopsy Mopsy. I had so much fun climbing the hills of Flopsy Mopsy to the top of the ravine and looking down. Do you know why? Because from the top of the hilltop, everybody looked like a tiny, insignificant fly. Oh yes, this was my perspective. And one day, up so high, little Mustafio thought he would blow at the sun. Just blow the damn thing out. Enough with the sun! Every stinking day. I tried and tried to no avail. This, of course, caused Mustafio great frustration, because I was so high, even taller than the Empire State Building. Meanwhile, the whole town, my family, and you have to understand that all of the town's people were veritable midgets of happenstance, and where I stood, the stinking pipsqueaks happened to maintain this perspective in the day. But in any case, driving around, beeping my respective horn, pounding my head, yelling at little windows at the same time for little Peggy to come home for the supper. It was horrible, just horrible. It was quite traumatic and no doubt has left permanent scars on my psyche to this day. Certainly you can sympathize. Disguised in resplendent cabbies, caps and pigtails, Mustafio was so high and so out of sight just to make sure, just to obliterate any remote possibility that nobody in the town would ever find me again. Not even Mr. Jenkins. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mustafio will go there anymore. Do you consider yourself a victim of the haberdashery? An unfortunate receptacle of bad millinery? I wear no clothes. I parade the streets of eternity in a suit made entirely of limes. Baby limes, tiny limes. I like the green smell of the sour grapes. You say you want to drink from my cup. You say, Mustafio, just a little bit, is it? I said, drop dead. No one drinks from the cup of the ultimate stainless steel shinorama. That is my delicate, holy beautifulness. I am fulfillment enough. Look at me. Look hard. Look deep. I am the true way. I have the vibrating jelly. I rub your back with my true words. You don't have to go to any holy man. Just turn on the tube right back and spread it out. I have a special parable for the day. Once a little boy was racing home from school with an ashtray he made out of toilet paper and bug spray. He ran home to his mama as fast as his little feet could carry him. But soon he ran out of the bride, and then he became an old man. He had no money, just a crappy AM radio that played only commercials. He had nice blue jeans, but they turned to polyester pants. And he was wearing a diaper made for adults. A diaper to catch the Vivi. He looked down at the ashtray and realized he was 227 years old. That was me. This was the great Mustafio. A sad little boy with an ashtray made from toilet paper and bug spray. I was waiting for something to hit me on the head, but it never came. Only the mailman came. Mailman Bill. And there, as an old man with a diaper for wee-wee, I dissected Mailman Bill and put him in a cardboard box and left him by the commissary of retrievable parcels. I could do this to anyone. I feel no love, only compassion. I have bloated ankles from swimming in the salty ocean. I can barely contain myself from leaping through the tube and boxing you in the ears. Make a shrine in front of the telly for me. Light a candle for yours truly. Put on the mamas and the papas. Sing Dale. 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 Come now, little kittens. Bad little kittens. It's time for some ring toss, bean bags and balls. You were tardy with the bird bath, and therefore there was left to the 3 bugs. Uh-oh. What will we do, all you bad little kittens? What will we do? Next time you will listen to Mustafio. When Mustafio tells you to push your little feline paw where I tell you. Well, I tell you. Now you dug and scooping off the roots. Drag out the stones. Look for the boots. Just like a dog or a horse or beaver walking towards the elevator. Hurry, it's getting deep. The old mother kitten sings a happy little song while you work for Mustafio. There's should not be more spelling errors. Dear Betty, please come over to my house today and play with me after school. Goodbye, Jane. It was one of my favorites. Riding the bicycle over a snake. He was about a foot long and dark gray, and he lived under the stinking bridge in the brook. And his name was also Mustafio. Another time my playmate and I were walking down the road, and Mustafio scared up 6 pheasants. I think it nice to have lived near Mustafio. Sometimes it was not so nice. What is a shoe? A horse, a spoon, a cup, a pencil, a stove, a clock, a doll. Answer 8 of them, and Mustafio has lollipop sticks and soap for carving wagon wheels and legs for pets. Want to play store with Mustafio? I give you 10 discs for play money, yarn for hoops, rings, and bags. Soon we outline decorations for boa constrictors and salmon. Balloons made of salmon trains, some salmon, firemen putting out salmon, sleep away salmon. I'd like to be a steam shovel and not the stinking little Pedro Abupo. You are neglectful. You are neglectful. Mustafio must come over and you must clean up the apartment. Make it nice, make it spiffy for me. You would not recognize your place after Mustafio gets through. Do what you will. Let Mustafio to the paper towels, the vacuum and the stinking mop and broom, the sponge, beating on your little microorganisms living in the mattress. I beat them with trading cards and TV. I beat them into a fine sauce, while you slumber and sloth like a huckleberry hound. When you come back with the lunch provisions for us both, we shall imbibe on the floor. Some smoked fish is always very tasteful. I will clean your floor so good, like a silver plate with fuzzballs. That was one of my favorite movies. Ladybird, Ladybird, Mustafio is like a cricket all the time. Always come to your door and start off in the kitchen, recounting Hiawatha's childhood, allowing you ample time to take your morning calisthenics, perhaps a shower, and a brisk park in the jog. Some of you, I wonder, have doubted my manhood. What's below the head, you may ask? Well, I wonder how many of you can boast 14 testicles and an extra long Jimmy pipe, eh? There is still a spring to my step and a zip to my whip. I am more virile than a herd of wild boar. My testes fill up with the greatest of frequencies. Once, 50 years ago, I became temporarily impotent after drinking a kivada of German beer. But that, as I said, was a temporary annoyance. In my color, I am known as the Great Bot, King of the Jews. But sex can be like money. It covers up the real problem of existence. I had a little dog once. Her name was Dinky. She had the face of a rat and spoke fluent Portuguese. I had a lovely time with that dog, traveling the outer stratospheres of this and other galaxies with her in my lap. She would eat food from my mouth, and I had infinite patience with her. When she'd wag her little tail, she'd leave a trail of stars. And I was truly enthralled. But like all things of fur and bone, Dinky died! Dinky died! And I couldn't handle this at the time. I took this out on my people. I had 7 virgins terminated and pureed. I drank them all, but still I felt no better. I soon came to realize that life sucked. Life sucks, and I am still so mad over losing Dinky. And you will pay, all of you. You will pay. You will pay with your puny little lives that mean nothing to me. You will serve me Mustafio, the great Mustafio. Give me a name. Give me a U. Give me an S. Give me a T. Give me an A. Give me another F. Give me an I. Give me an O. What's that spell? What's that spell? What's that spell? Right. Mustafio. Fortunately, there is some good news. By federal law, new toilets can use no more than 1.6 gallons per flush. This, of course, has caused Mustafio some difficulty. A whopping mountain of gaseous waste is expelled at riptide velocity, endangering all. My mother is in the army, my brother's in the Marines, my sister is in the bathroom, bombing sub-bodies. Just an old tune. I tap my foot impatiently. I clear my throat for dramatic emphasis. That's another story no, you can wipe now. You can wipe. Aside from all the hubbub, it's time for Mustafio to enjoy a snack with you as my guest. If you please, what have we here? Oh my, oh, this looks sumptuous. I was favored this morning with a veritable holiday hamster. It looks so much fun to eat. I tell you, this festive smorgasbord will overwhelm you with the season's most eclectic and appetizing fare. My favorite taste provisions are here. Some moose munch and roasted pepper dressing. Pardon me while I indulge. I've been thinking about how sublime this all is. Purple kumquats litter the forest of reason. Tallulah Bankhead has a red pulqueyu in one hand and a bullet salami in the other. She is talking to Red Skeleton. A bat sits perched on her shoulder. Red is picking his nose and eating it, but we don't care. It is a fun time in the old time tonight. I cooked a big bag of egg salad for each of my guests. Soon we will get stark raving naked and play kismet. Choo-choo, here comes the train. All aboard for a journey to the center of my rotten underwear. I had a 5-alarm chili, and after the meat vibrates for a while, it starts to smell good. Bring hangers when you come over. No, not for the food, for Teddy. Teddy needs to hang up his clothes. Teddy needs new pencils. Teddy is writing a history of the roller skate. One roller skate. It's time for another story. Listen or be spayed. I went to Mississippi once to get a fudgy, and boys and girls, what a good fudgy it was. It started out small with a few people licking it, but soon I had all of humanity lapping my little fudgy. Lick, lick, lick they went. Take another lick from this strange man's fudgy. Soon I had them all in the palm of my hand. They couldn't envision a life without me. They couldn't envision a life without the fudgy. It made them mad to be so dependent on something so brown. And it made me mad as well, having people always licking from my hand. I crawled into the sewer to make a getaway. This proved to be a good move in the short term, but unfortunate in the long run. I did have a chance to meet people of all stripes, and they were very supportive of me and my endeavors. People think the sewers are empty. A whole world lives and survives down there. They had their own governments, TV commercials, and radiators. They tapped into the core for heat. They call where everyone else lives upstairs. I couldn't have cared less. They only wanted a leader, and I was only too happy to lead. No one knew a Fudgy. No one knew a Red Skeleton. They had their own heroes. I made them work hard. Harder than ever before. I set up a small throne and had some weak backs do my dirty work. But it was all dirty work down in the sewer. I was like King Rat. Soon they asked me, Mustafio, what is the upstairs like? I told him it was miserable. Everyone has to get up and drag me to the center of town every morning. And the sun burned out everyone's eyes so no one can see. And then it happened. One day a thin man from upstairs fell down the drain. He was in a terrible state of transition and said to me upon reflecting onto my holy image, Mustafio, may I lick the Fudgy? Just like that. The world changed. Soon the downstairs became like the upstairs. Everybody wanted to lick the Fudgy. And it made me so angry I had to clamp down. Break out new clamps and poultry scissors. I had to fuck a few people up to get my point across. Now I just keep work with the dead and simple mind. I have no time for people with ambitions. I should pull and wait for the next catastrophe. Then I can do my best work. I have no time for this prosperity bullshit. There is nothing more boring than a bunch of blobs trying to make a living. I need some suffering to squeeze out the good stuff. Sweat is good. Blood is good. Tears are good. But still, goddammit, nothing is as good as a Fudgy. I bless you, and I curse you. You're getting born. It's a game, that's what it is. I'm about to show the world something bigger than it's ever seen. A new version of the old game. It's a little something that goes like this. The world is mine. The check is in the mail, and so are you. You call yourself men. I say you bubbling idiots. A disgrace to your uniforms. Embarrassment to me, Mustafio. And as for you, I cut a big piece of chicken on you. I put a big chicken on me. The biggest piece of chicken you saw. My cupcake, my mommy, my cousin, my penis. You will pay dearly for what you've done. You will marry me. That's what I tell the nice girl. We're going to share everything. But you try to betray me. Me, I'm going to bury you now. No problem. No what? No what? What now? I'm busy. That's the name of the game. Turn around. Good, good, because in 48 hours a new game will be installed worldwide. Turned back around now. It's Mustafio. Beyond that, I'll let you know if you need anything else. While you break Mustafio's balls. Excuse me, I have to go to the little boy's room. Now you can see what happens to a little boy. You play me for a fool? Do you have any last request? Paris, Rome? You think you can play me for the fool? Salute Mustafio. Salute Mustafio. I'm like an insect at the bottom of your juice, drowning faster than you. Don't panic, it's organic. All that rot, it's rich in pot. You know, a man stopped me on the street yesterday and remarked I'd lost a lot of weight from the last time he saw me. From my last appearance. The man asked me how did I manage to lose so much weight. How did I do it? And you know what I told him? Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth before I shut it for you. That's how I lose the weight. Chop off the head and the mouth will follow. It's only logical. Stop the madness. It's the doctor's guide to weight loss after Mustafio chopped your head diet. Just for good measure, I will kick ahead into the new game and show you how to erect statues with precious droppings. Give me your sweetheart, and my heart and droppings will save you in 3 months. All the gold in Fort Knox, you can shove it up your ass. It's nothing of value. The only thing that makes the world go round is the value of me. I am the new precious standard, and I've been sitting on my brains, checking my stinking wallet. I'm redeemable for an ounce of brains. Believe me, this is no desperate attempt to reinvent myself into a fairy godmother. There are many chips left in the old cookie jar. I've been seldom seen in the aisle where they keep the crispy things, because I have a problem with certain sounds. Certain sounds aggravate me, and you don't want to be around me when I'm aggravated. Next Tuesday will be the coming of the fall line. Everyone is to line up in front of the gate and wait for my turn to pass your future gravesite. There will be an open hole, and you are to throw 1/10 of your personal fortune into that hole. After that, you will proceed to the folding table, where Marcello will give you a number and a cup of brown liquid. You are to take a sip of the brown liquid and toss the rest over your left shoulder. Take 10 steps away from the table and say the first thing that comes to your mind. These bits of verbiage will be recorded for a future broadcast. If by chance you say the magic words, well, you know what happens. You know what happens. Just to make sure you bring some protection for the following mayhem afterwards, as we wouldn't want to have to endure any unnecessary lawsuits. Anybody who fails to arrive on Tuesday will be skinned alive in front of the people they hate the most. If they are of love, then there are no people that they hate. They will be skinned in front of a random selection of imbeciles. This will be, of course, documented in all available media and shown in perpetuity on the Dubious Pleasure channel. Those who attend without proper identification will be turned into chickens and butchered for meat at a later date. See you there, and don't be late. Lateness gets lashes, and I don't mean lashes eye. I don't even mean Cassius Clay. No lashes eye, no Cassius Clay, no eyelashes. Just a ring. I'm not on top. No bottom of it. Not with topping. Seriously, be on time, please. Do it for me. With the holidays coming up, I get so sensitive. Butter your toast. Live a little. Live a little. My dear Porcine. You are so low in the trunk. It's the common body structure of a Mediterranean woman. Day after day I wait. I despise a man who protect a woman's snake. I've heard about your sister. I've heard about the optional organist. I told poor Selena that perhaps an apology was in order for not accepting the invitation. But as of late, my spare time has been very limited. very limited indeed. With my organ duties and the first major creative period, I have been non-existent. Shortly afterward, I would hear the bells. Mustafio does not like the sound of bells. I simply despise the awful sound. Bells, bells, ringing bells, rattling so loud. Ring, ring, oh, would you stop it already? Kindly stop it for crying. Kindly stop it for driving. How could Mustafio perform his electric organ duties with that relentless pounding of those stinking bells, the ting, ting, ting that never stops? Stinking bells, impossible to be off with my ears. Like playing handball in a snowstorm. Enough already. Enough of this funny monkey business stuff. I want to talk seriously. I want to talk to you about the moments between the moments. I will tell you a story. A story about U.S. Moose. U.S. Moose. Grade A Moose. One time while vacationing in an area previously viewed as a subtext of Canada, I had the pleasure of relieving myself on the Lone Ranger. He had the pistol and he showed it to me as he wiped it off his leg. In the split second of danger, a feeling of unwelcome unwellness pervaded my inner being. I stood perfectly still and waited for the silence of aggression to pass. It was at this juncture that I first encountered U.S. Moose. U.S. Moose. I say, the lonesome ranger heard the rustling in the leaves as my golden essence trickled from beyond my waistcoat. He gave a sharp inhale of breath, and the sky opened, and thick globs of green blood fell upon his misbegotten head. There was a lashing of teeth, and the smell from the breath was ugly. But in the distance I heard the familiar call of my disciples. Wet with sticky juice from the limes on my coat, I saw them carrying on their backs what looked like a wretched sea creature with a cape and fins. It had a high pompadour, not unlike the devil's singer Fabian. Though it was being carried, it was not dead. It was not dead. It was laughing, pretending to be me. My voice rose from its mouth like the stench of garbage from a dumpster beside the nursing home. One of its legs was missing, but the horns were intact. The horrid sea creature said it had solid dominion over this cold country, and that people of the region were soaking in the sea creature's juice. This was U.S. Moose. In a momentary reversification, I thought to keep this thing alive, to do my bidding in this horrid maple syrup country. But I declined to make sense of my own wishes. I had this sea creature coated in flour and boiled it lively in canola oil. I ate heartily for 2 weeks and my empire grew threefold. All my friends because of a witness to a pleasure-filled evaporation of my waste molecules onto the unfortunate waistcoat of a lonesome stranger with a horned badge, the Lone Ranger of the area previously known to me as the wretched subtext of Canada. The great Professor J.B. Haldane once said, "The universe is not only queerer than we imagine, it is queerer than we imagine." Nevertheless, we must try. Try out our new legs and see how well we walk. Think yourself into my future, Mustafio's future world. Think yourself into my skin, the skin of someone who lives there, and look around through my eyes, the eyes of Mustafio.